the the opposition, one of the opposition parties, made it a duty to have a press conference to identify that they are adopting the Carriacou's approach towards the legalization of marijuana. What are your thoughts on this particular topic?
Well, that's really, Ms. Duncan, a good topic, but it's very broad-based. Very broad-based, and we have to be careful. Let me start by saying that, I've left government and the front line of the politics, virtually about 3 years now. So I've been out of cabinet for about that time. And during the time I was in cabinet, I know the discussion came up, or the topic came up. There was some discussion about it. And we concluded then, while I was still in cabinet, that we should start getting a feel of what people have in their mind,
Right.
And a minister was given that responsibility to start feeling, drop the conversation depending on where you are, and get some kind of feedback. To my mind, I do not know that a lot more had happened from a governmental standpoint since then. I also know that at the party level, at the executive level, the issue came forward on more than one occasion. There was broad-based discussion. Many people gave their views, but no firm decision was taken, whether we for or we against. Yes. But as you rightly said, there's a sort of Carriacou position, and there have been some jurisdiction within the sub-region, one for sure is St. Vincent and the Grenadines, that has gone the distance in terms of putting the legislation in place. And I am not sure. I don't think they have legalized, but I think they might have decriminalized, because there are different ways in which you can do it. And this is not an issue where you can just get up next morning, bring 10, 15, 20, 30 people around a table, take a vote and say we're going or we're not going. There's so many other things that need to happen, because you need to let people have their say. There will be those certainly who would put their hands up instantly if you ask for a vote to say, I'm voting for.
Yeah.
Right? While there are those who would say, no, wait a while. I don't think we should go that way. And I think everyone needs to be heard. Everyone needs to be given an opportunity. So hence the reason the consultation is of such great importance. But mind you, in going forward and with the consultation, there are several different aspects of this issue that we have to look at. So you said depenalization, which I, in my opinion, believe conforms to and will in some way, I think, mean decriminalization, because if the item is decriminalized on the books, then you won't be penalized. And again, even in dealing with that, you have to know at what aspect. How much do you decriminalize?
Yeah.
Do you decriminalize it in such a way that it becomes legalized? Because that's another aspect. You can decriminalize it, but still not legalize it. And so the laws and the rules will say, well, look, if a guy is being caught with a stick or a spliff, or one little thing, a half ounce, whatever, how they want to think it, then that is okay. But if you are found with a half a pound, a kilo, whatever, then you will be charged. So it remains still a criminal offense to be trafficking, to have so much. But it is no longer a criminal offense if you're just smoking a joint or you're just with your
or
friends.
For medicinal purposes.
Right. So and that's also another angle of it.
Yeah.
So you have decriminalizing, you have legalizing, you have permitting for medical purposes, because there are some jurisdictions. For example, in the United States, there are certain states that now have allowed people a permit, a license to grow. as a grower for medical purposes. What do we want in Grenada? That's something that the discussion must eventually come up with. Do we want to just grow for medical purposes? Do we want to decriminalize for the purposes of allowing a man to smoke a joint freely?
Social purposes.
For social purposes. Do we want to legalize so it becomes free? You can sell it over the counter. There's no problem. You can walk with it in a bag. The police don't bother you. Or do we want to be an importer or an exporter?
For economic purposes.
All of those things have to be placed on the table, and the powers that be have to first sit and decide what angle do we want to take? How do we want to lead the discussion? What is it we're bringing forward to the people? Because in the minds of a lot of people, when you talk the topic, what they see, because I've heard guys speaking, I've been in conversations with people, it's time to free up the thing, man. Time to free up the hub. Let we grow the thing. Let we smoke the thing, so we don't have no problem. No. The powers that be must know which direction are we going. And if we're going in a particular direction, there are examples for us to follow, or there are those who already have done and gone through the process, so we can take a page or a chapter from the book. It doesn't mean we have to follow them to the T, to the letter T. Do you want people now to feel, well, look, if I bring in some of the weed from wherever, Trinidad, Venezuela, Colombia, wherever, I have no issue because it's legalized in Grenada. So I think the conversation.
But then also we have to look at quality as well, eh?
Oh, quality assurance.
Because we know, and I'm sure everyone has heard of incidents or stories of where persons who, what they call it, smoke a bad weed.
Well, that's
in colloquial terms, but a mixture of whatever substance they put with the actual marijuana that may have different reactions in different people. So a lot of these things have to be identified and they have to be spoken about, because to be honest, when I heard of the press conference and I heard of what was said, in essence, I thought it was very irresponsible. And I'll tell you why I said that. Because you cannot just go out on a broad basis here and say, well, I know people using it for medicinal purposes. Carriacou has do it. Other countries are doing it. So let's just jump on and do it as well. You have to start having consultation with the people who are educated about this kind of thing. People who know how it affects the body, how it affects the mind. People who are avid users of it. There are the Rastafarian community. How do they handle it? Why do they use it? What do they use it for? What parts are good to use and bad to use? Because once you start the conversation, these are things that are going to come up. And you don't want to have a people that believe that, okay, well, look, listen, our position say, let we legalize it, so let's just legalize it. It doesn't work like that. You have to start having consultation, having discussions with people at a higher level to get an understanding of what this change will mean for your people.
Exactly.
And I think I found it as a very responsible thing. While it is a good conversation starter, it is a conversation to start, but you always have to identify that there is a time and a place for everything, and that was not the place for that. It might have been the time, but it might not have been the place, because you have to be responsible in where you start conversations.
But we have to be mindful of a number of things, yes? And having mentioned the Rastafarian movement, these are the guys, I believe, or the grouping, that probably would most likely want to see a legalization of the weed or the marijuana, the ganja, the Kushum Peng, the among the names they have, right?
Yeah, and I rolled this morning.
The Sensimilia, But again, the powers that be must know and must glean from the people. Why do we want to either, and as I've said, it is not one size fits all.
Yeah.
It is not just legalize or decriminalize or depenalize, as you say, or permit to grow, or permit to travel. Permit to traffic in.
Yeah.
We must decide what we want. Is it we're going into it, as we say, for economic purposes, economic viability? We have we have good soil, we have good land. I know it has been grown in Grenada before, because you see on the news where the police or the drug squad capture how many trees, thousands of trees over a period of time, and they had to get rid of. So what do we want from it when we do? Do we want to just have our kids, school age, whatever, smoking it or trafficking in it? What do we want? These conversations must be had. This dialogue have to take place. There must be some sort of compromise one way or the other. How does the legislative arm of the government deal with it? What are the laws on the books that now they will have to amend? Do we need new legislation altogether? Or do we just need to amend certain legislation that we already have in place? How do you now educate the police officers to deal with it and to administer the law? Because you may want to say that if you are a member of some religious cult like the Rastafarian or some other people who probably see it as a spiritual or a medicinal thing, do you allow them to carry and use a certain amount as compared to the ordinary public? You know, so you have to digress all of these things and sectionize it and do it in such a manner that at the end of the day there is no confusion, there is no doubt, there is no cloudiness over what I can do or what I cannot do. What is allowed under the law or what is not. How much can a man move with at any one time? Or how much should you be able to have in your possession? Because if the law is not absolutely clear and you say, well, somebody could move around with a quarter pound and it's all right. The police catch you with a quarter pound, that's cool. But is it a quarter pound every day of the week?
Yeah.
Or once per week?
Yep.
Once per month? I mean, there's so much things that we have to get into. It's very technical. And so, as you've said, and I have commended, though, the NDC for the statement. However, I said, because GBN had called me for an interview on the issue, just a statement, but I've said that, look, when that time comes around and the consultation begins, the dialogue starts, I hope they will be willing to be a participant and to bring forward, because it is not a clear-cut issue where tomorrow cabinet or you just go to parliament and you amend the law and you say, yes, we're there. No, there's a lot of conversation. As you have said, the medical professionals must be brought in. The legal minds must be brought in. The police have to be there. The regular people, the church leaders, how do they feel? Civil society, what role do they have to play? How do we manage this thing? Even after you've made a change on your books, if that's what we want as Grenadians.
Absolutely.
So it's not just about what I want. It's not just about what NNP want or what Dr. Mitchell want or what the ministers say they want or because Carriacou say. We go that way.
And you also have to look at it from the standpoint of how much of it am I allowed to use in public spaces, or am I allowed even to use it in public spaces,
yes.
You know, with respect for the people who cannot or will not consume it. You know, am I able to bake it in a cookie or bake it in a brownie and sell it for public consumption? You know, these are all of the things that we need to start talking about. And I said it has to be a conversation on a higher level, because you also have to take into consideration, if I decide I want it legal now, so I was skeptical before of trying it, and I ain't gonna try it because I'm afraid, you know, and next thing I get caught, or next thing police smell it on me or something like that. So now that it's illegal and I want to try it, and it has a bad reaction, how does a medical professional now deal with something like that? Do we have the resources? Do we have the education? Do we have the doctors that are trained to deal with these kind of things now, you know, and even on a large scale, if this becomes a reality? So these are the things that we need to start having conversations about, you know. So that's why I said it was very irresponsible, because you don't just go out there and make a broad statement like that as politicians and not be able to back it up with supporting information or supporting documents, or, you know, start the conversation on a level where it needs to be started. Because to me, it seemed as though you're trying to force the hand of government to say, listen, this is something that has been discussed on social media, because it is something that is being discussed widely on social media. This is something that is being discussed on social media. So here's what. We go jump in front and we go just have a little press conference for 25 minutes that say we supporting this, so people will gravitate towards us and say, yes, that is the party that want to legalize, we'll vote for them. It doesn't work like that. To me, that is how it came across. Maybe that was not the intention, but that is how it came across to me, And we have to be careful of these kind of things. If we really want to see something like this happen, then we must handle it properly. We must deal with it properly, because it would really be a shame, as you said, it really would be a shame that the government now decides to start the conversation and then you hear government want to introduce drugs into Grenada by the same opposition who supported it before, because sometimes they have short memory and it doesn't remember what they say.
I agree with you. We have seen it happen before. Just as a matter of fact, even COVID, we hear today they are against doing this, that, or the other. They don't want a law. They don't want no legislation. Tomorrow they are concerned about the health and well-being of our people. There should be no restrictions. And the next day, well, people are free to do this and do that. And what about the health status? And so you really could never be certain, as you have said, this opposition party, what they really support and what they really want. And so
we have a message here or a comment on the live video, very succinct point, because I wanted us to talk about that as well. It says, if cannabis is decriminalized in Grenada, what happens to those who are currently serving prison time or have criminal records associated with the possession of cannabis? That is also a conversation that would need to happen. Do we scrub their record? Do we say, okay, well, you were within the limit, so do we say that you carried it in a time when it was illegal, so it remains the same? So all of that is a conversation that has to happen.
It all depends, again, if it ever becomes decriminalized, if the powers that be feel after, proper consultation, it depends on when you allow the law to take effect.
Right.
Do you backdate it so that you can now release those who are incarcerated for having had that, or do you start it at the time when you pass it in Parliament? All of those things. So if for an answer to that person, if it's a case where the law is not backdated, then I guess whatever went on before has to stand. If you bring it back by a year, by 2 years, by 5 years, then you're probably looking at now changing the sentence of those people. But there's a lot of conversation that need to be held. Yes, I want to repeat, it is not just a straight yes or no. It is not just like a referendum where you take a vote, I for, I against. There are so much conditionalities that come with the yes or the no. There are so many things that we have to look at. In the minds of some people, they may look and seem to be trivial issues, but if not dealt with and properly clarified, can lead down the line into greater problems, legally and otherwise. So the law has to be absolutely clear, and people has to understand what is happening and why it is happening. So let's say, for example, just giving an example, that permits us then given out to say, well, all right, we are growing for medical purposes. We have secured a market in London, or we've secured a market in Germany, what have you. And so now farmers can cultivate it. Like we're doing nutmegs and we're doing bananas and cocoa and, whatever else, it can now be cultivated.
Right.
Now, how is that different from saying that no, it is decriminalized for you to use? No, it's a different thing. You may have a permit to grow, but do you have permission to transport, to travel with, to sell locally, to use it in public? So all of those have to be clarified, and we have to be very careful as to how we say this thing must be done.
Yeah.
I mean, I have my thoughts, you have your thoughts, different people, the opposition has their thoughts, but I think is what is going to give us the greatest advantage as a people is what we should be looking at. I mean, people use it illegally so now, because on the books, based on the laws, it is an illegal substance. Yeah. And so those who use it know and should know that if caught, they could be penalized.
Yeah.
Now, how do you separate now the allowance of people to use as compared to a grower and then a trader? Because if you eventually would start growing it as a commercial crop, you must have people involved in either the packaging for local sales or regional sales or international sales. Where do you have the market? What strain, as you said before, because it is also my understanding that there are several different strains.
Yeah.
There are certain extracts that are taken out from some because you want to grow it for what purpose as compared to others, you know?
There are some that are of a higher grade.
Yeah, high grade, they call it.
Yes.
You ever hear this song? Pass the cushion pen.
I find you singing regularly these days.
No, I just want to know if you ever heard
Yes,
that.
I've heard it.
Yeah, right.
I've heard it.
So we need to know if we will be legalized to pass the cushion pen one to another.
Yeah.
Or if the law is now going to allow us a permit as a farmer, as a trader.
Yeah.
You know, and all of those issues have to be clarified.
Because also we have to look into the fact that, for example, this is hypothetical, guys, please, because I don't want anyone to go out there and say, look, they saying people should do this or should. This is all hypothetical examples. For example, an individual plants 5, 6, 7 trees, right? But the reason they're planting their 5, 6, 7 trees is because they're asthmatic and they use whatever parts, whether it's the root or the leaves or the actual
Stems.
whatever it is. They use it for their medicinal purposes. Whereas someone else may plant the same 5, 6, 7 trees and they are using it for resale. Now, how do you manage these things? How do you combat? Because you have to understand that this is not just a clear-cut issue. It's not just one slice down the middle, half this way and half that way. It doesn't work that way. There are so many intricate parts of this thing that we have to look at. And I know there are some callers who are waiting to call because this has been something we've been asked before. Yeah. You know, individuals have called and they've asked, when is it going to happen and what are our views on it, you know? And I keep saying that what you and I feel about how it should be, whether it should be decriminalized, whether it should be legalized, whatever the issue is, that is not what needs to happen at this point. What needs to happen at this point is we need to start looking at the different scenarios, sitting down and having consultations and conversations surrounding what would happen if we decide to do this. And if we do decide to do this, how do we manage it as a country so that we don't become a hub or a hot spot for transport, a middle ground, you know, for transport to countries that are illegal. We don't ever want to, where it is illegal, we don't ever want to be seen as that. We don't ever want to be seen as, and I remember stories of the U.S. when they first started to legalize it in certain states, that they had so much people abusing it. They had deaths as a result of that, you know. And so we have to think about these things. We have to think about ways in which we're going to manage these things. If it ever does happen here in Grenada, how do we deal with it? You know, so these are things that we do need to think about, to consider, to talk about. But we are going to take a short break, and when we do come back, we are going to open the lines to begin the conversation, to give you an opportunity to weigh in and share your views on the decriminalization, depenalization, legalization of marijuana, because it is a topic that has started. It's not something you can run and hide away from.
Well,
you have to start talking about it.
Just before you take the break, I just want to mention one thing, yeah? That, as you know, we're doing a series of meetings, and I'm talking party-wise now, by parishes and so on. And last Thursday, it was for the parish of St. Andrews. And that's virtual meetings, people. We're doing it virtually. And that exact question came up. And it was placed to Prime Minister. What do you have to say? How do you deal with, and when are we going to start that conversation? And interesting enough, he said in his response, among many other things he said to the person, if you had asked me that same question 8 years or so ago, the response I'm giving you now would have been different. because 8 years ago,
Yeah.
I saw this issue and topic differently to how I see it now. You know, since the conversation has started, since there have been some backroom chat, you know, and people are learning more about it, I see different. And he did say just last Thursday in that virtual meeting that yes, it is agreed that we must start the conversation. We have to start discussing. We have to start looking at what has happened in some other jurisdictions. We have to take examples from those who have done it before and determine as a people where we want to go with that issue. So I think we can take our break and then...
Yeah. So guys, once we come back, we are going to start... we're going to open the lines. We're going to give you an opportunity to ask your questions, to share your views and your opinions on the topic in a very respectable manner, of course, with respect for the fact that not everyone will share the same opinion as you. We'll do that shortly when we come back from this break.
You're listening to Hard Talk Grenada via www.hardtalkgrenada.com.
Hello, this is your government.
You're listening to Hard Talk Grenada via www.hardtalkgrenada.com.
I am Carriacou.
Wash your hands frequently with
The
soap
government
and water
of Grenada
for at least
is moving
20 seconds.
aggressively to improve.
COVID-19 spreads. Our health is our collective responsibility. Five things you need to know about self-isolation. Stay home. If you are told to self-isolate, it means staying at home, not going to work, school, or other public places, and you should not have any visitors. Separate yourself. If you live with others, then you need to stay in a well-ventilated bedroom with the door shut. If you have to share a bathroom, then use it after everyone else. Don't share towels and toiletries, as this may put others at risk. Call ahead. If you develop symptoms such as a fever or cough, then seek advice first by calling.
Hello,
2020.
this is your government notices for today, Monday, September 21st.
The government of Grenada is moving
I am
aggressively to
Carriacou.
improve physical planning operations in the country.
The government
Prime
of
Minister
Grenada
Dr.
is
the Right
moving
Honourable
aggressively
Keith
to
Mitchell
improve physical
has
planning
stated that planning
operations
is
in
a
the
crucial
country.
part of
Prime
the
Minister
country's
Dr. the Right
development,
Honourable
and it
Keith
must be
Mitchell
treated more
has
seriously
stated that
than
planning
it
is a
currently
crucial
is.
part of the
At
country's
a meeting
development,
with top
and it
officials
must be
associated
treated
with
more
physical
seriously
planning,
than it
Dr.
currently
Mitchell
is.
said
At
that
a
the
meeting
government
with
will
top
be moving
officials
quickly to
associated
examine
with
the
physical
whole
planning,
structure and
Dr.
make
Mitchell said
drastic
that the
changes.
government
He
will be
stated
moving
we must
quickly to
protect the
examine the
integrity
whole
of our
structure
development
and
process
make drastic
before it
changes.
causes
He
irreversible
stated we
damage
must
to
protect the
our
integrity
country.
of our
The
development
Grenadian
process
leader also
before
cited
it causes
discrepancies
irreversible
in the
damage
approval
to
times
our
and the
country.
historical
The
stigma
Grenadian
of
leader also
corruption that
cited
has been attached
discrepancies
to the
in the
physical
approval
planning
times
unit
and the
and the
historical
planning
stigma
authority.
of
He
corruption
said
that
it
has
has
been
been brought
attached
to my
to the
attention
physical
that
planning
some
unit
persons seeking
and the
permission to
planning
build
authority.
wait several
He
months
said
for
it has been
approval.
brought brought to my
While other
attention that
applications
some
seem
persons
to be
seeking
fast-tracked
permission to
through the
build
system.
wait
He
several months for
emphasizes that there
approval,
must
while
be
other
quality in the
applications seem to be
approval
fast-tracked
process.
through the
Prime
system.
Minister Mitchell
He
acknowledged the
emphasizes that there
improvements
must
made
be
with
quality
respect to
in
addressing the
approval
backlog of
process.
applications.
Prime Minister
but he
Mitchell
stressed the
acknowledged the
need to
improvements
continue
made with
finding
respect to
ways
addressing the
to
backlog
improve
of
the overall
applications,
physical planning
but he stressed
function.
the need to
Changes will be
continue
made to the
finding ways
establishment
to
of
improve
the
the
Physical
overall
Planning
physical
and
planning
Development
function.
Control Authority,
Changes will be
with
made to the
responsibility
establishment
for
of the
overseeing
Physical
all
Planning and
development
Control Authority,
matters,
with
including
responsibility
environmental
for
protection.
overseeing all planning and development matters, including environmental
Payment of the
protection.
Support for Education Empowerment and Development Program will continue in
Payments
various
of the
communities
Support for
in
Education
September.
Empowerment
The
and
Ministry of
Development
Social
Program
Development,
will continue
Housing
in various
and Community
communities
Empowerment
in September.
informs
The
beneficiaries
Ministry of
SEED
Social
that their
Development,
monthly
Housing
payments for
and
September
Community
2020
Empowerment
will
informs
begin
beneficiaries
this week.
of SEED that their
Wednesday,
monthly
September
payments for
23rd,
September 2020
and end on
will
Friday,
begin
September
this
25th,
week.
2020.
Wednesday,
The
September
full payment
23rd,
schedule will
and
be
end on
released
Friday,
via various
September
media
25th,
platforms
2020.
and also
The full
posted on the
payment
ministry's
schedule will be
Facebook
released
page.
via various
Please note that
media
all social
platforms
distancing
and
protocols
also
are
posted on the
enforced.
ministry's Facebook page. Please note that all social distancing protocols are enforced. For more information, please contact the ministry's helpline at 440-4787 or 440-2269. The Climate Smart Agriculture and Rural Enterprise Program will hold a food and nutrition training on utilization of selected agricultural crops. This training will be facilitated by the Grenada Food and Nutrition Council to the Extension Division of the Ministry of Carriacou and PT Martinique Affairs. The training is set for 2 days, which includes practical sessions with the participants from the ministry. The training will begin today, Monday, September 21st, 2020, from 1:30 p.m. at the AIDS Dream Conference Room. Second day of training is on Tuesday, September 22nd, 2020, at the Hillsborough Secondary School from 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. For further information, please call 442-0105 or 435-6802. The Ministries of Agriculture and Lands and Health are collaborating to have their annual rabies vaccination program. The program started last Tuesday and concludes tomorrow, Tuesday, September 22nd, 2020. The public is advised to bring their animals to be vaccinated. And now for your government reminder. Cover cough and sneezes. Stop the spread of germs that can make you and others sick. Cover your mouth and nose with a tissue when you sneeze or cough. If you don't have a tissue, use your elbow. Wash your hands often, especially after coughing or sneezing. Let's all remember all preventative tips and stay safe. This has been your government notices for today, Monday, September 21st, 2020. I am Carleen Peters. Until next time.
glitch here, but there seemed to be some little issue. But when we last left here, everything was working fine.
All right. I just let us know if you guys are able to hear us. We have our first caller on the line. We'll take that call quickly. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, and how do you do?
I am good, and how are you?
Not so bad. Well, it's a wonderful topic this morning.
You sound very excited about this topic.
Yeah, well, I'm a police officer, so I was asking a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Now, if it is legalized, I want to know what they will have in place for police officers. Now, if the police officer will be able to use it.
Just let us know if you guys are able.
That's a good question, but I presume, caller, if I want to take a shot of it, we don't have all of the answers, and I can't tell you what will and will not be, but I would presume that if something is legal, it's legal for everyone in the country, providing that whatever a bit of legislation that is being passed put exceptions to it, because you can have the legislation to say that this is legalized except for uniform officers, or except for children under the age of 16 or 18 or 20, whatever. I don't know. I mean, I just presume, as we said, the conversation have to start, and there are so much dimensions that we have to look at when the conversation is started. So there would be work, and a lot of work, for the medical, the legal, the governmental. So we can easily say yes, we can say no. But the truth is, we don't know what the final product will be. We don't even know if it would ever be legalized, We're just saying that the time has come to start the conversation and start the dialogue, and the powers that be should set the structure in the way in which the dialogue should start, and how we go about doing it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
You're welcome, sir.
Yep, and that is why we're saying, Mr. Bola, and we have been saying that you go about it the right way, because there are a lot of people.
Well, say the correct
there are
way,
some,
because you could go the right way,
the correct way,
and it's wrong. Huh?
Yeah, there are people in Grenada who may hear that, and we all know how information travels. It leaves you with 3 words, and it gets to somebody else with 9. Somebody added a whole 6 words onto it. So that is why it is important that when you bring this to the public, when you bring these kind of topics and these kind of sensitive issues to the general public, that you don't throw it in there and that you don't force the conversation on people. It is something that has to be dealt with properly, because here you are going to have people who are going to hear that they're trying to legalize marijuana, or you're going to hear a different set of people who are saying, hey, you ain't hear they legalize marijuana, or you are going to hear a different set of people saying, well, government trying to fight down people who smoking a little marijuana. It's going to have a lot of different dimensions. So that is why it is important that when we start this conversation, we do it in the correct way, and we start with the people who have more influence in terms of adding value to the conversation. We have a caller on the line. Let's take this call. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
My take on this issue, there are so many more important issues for us to address. Legalizing marijuana would only bring destruction to a lot of young minds, in my humble view. I've never smoked marijuana, don't intend to start. But I see a major problem if we decriminalize it. Then it can be free for all. So a 14-year-old, a 15-year-old can pick it up because it's legal and nobody could tell them anything. I don't see the need for starting a conversation about it. Like I said, there are more important issues that we need to address, and let's address those issues and not marijuana. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you, caller. That's your opinion, and we respect it.
Of course.
And you're correct. There'll always be important issues to discuss, but that happens to be one of the important issues, because that's the way the world is moving now. That's something that people are talking about. And as I've said earlier on to a previous caller, when you say legalize or decriminalize, there can be exceptions to the rule.
Because alcohol is legal to drink, but at a certain age.
At a certain age.
And under certain conditions as well.
Yes.
We have another caller on the line. Oh, no, it seems like we lost that caller. So, caller, if you're listening, go ahead and call back. But, yeah, under certain conditions. Because I'm quite sure that when the actual conversation starts and the consultations start, it will not go into legislation right away. The government is not going to say, okay, well, we want to legalize marijuana, so we're going to go to Parliament, we're going to put the policy in place, we're going to go to Parliament, and we're just going to legalize the thing. No. That is why I'm saying that it was very irresponsible of that group to just go out there and make a broad statement like that. There must first be that deep consultation. And when I say deep, I mean real deep, because there are a lot of ills that are also associated with the consumption of marijuana, as there is with alcohol as well, you know? So we have to start the conversation in the right place.
And that is why we've said, what do you do? Legalize, decriminalize, give a permit to grow.
Yeah.
But, you know, there are different aspects that you need to look at.
We have a caller on the line. Good morning.
Good morning, Ms. Duncan.
Hi, good morning.
Hello, morning. Ms.
Good morning. Very good topic this morning. We're speaking about marijuana, ganja, cannabis, whatever it is.
All names.
What I was saying, and some people not agree with me, not everybody, right?
Yes.
The previous caller said about the young people. We have to do a lot of education.
Correct.
About marijuana, cannabis, ganja, weed, right? I would like to see they legalize it for medical reasons.
Yes.
Because I have a friend that was the only thing. She has cancer. She died. May she so rest in peace. And that was the only thing I switched off when doctor give up and everything. So for medical reasons, I would like to see they legalize that for medical reasons. Yes. Not for a man to just smoke and hang out. Right? We have to educate the people about the ganja, weed, cannabis, that's what they call it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Mr. Bola.
Yes, we're listening.
And next thing, educate the people about the cocaine that destroy the youth. Most of the young people that smoke ganja, they smoke the cocaine.
Okay.
And these are things we need to educate the young mind. What it going to do to them. So it will take a while, a long time, for some of us in this country to accept that.
Yes.
The legalization of marijuana.
Yes.
Yes, some of them, Mr. Bola,
yes.
and radio, that I know used to buy ganja from me.
Yes.
My boyfriend, in the early 70s, when they used to smoke it.
Okay.
In the early 70s.
Okay.
Blunt. Was one of the biggest pushermen in the town of St. George.
Right.
And a lot of them now, they're on the radio and TV, condemning it, and they used to smoke. They used to buy it and smoke.
Okay.
Because better known as weed and ganja.
Yes.
So we need a lot of education.
True.
To educate the young people about that, and even the elders, because they already don't know about it. Already I saw a documentary on America television where a lady was in a state where they was not accepting that she child had epilepsy.
Yes.
And she spent millions of dollars to do research. And that was the only thing that helped her with the child,
yes.
with the epilepsy.
Yes.
So there is some good in it, and there is some bad.
Correct. Yeah. Good way to put it. Yes.
So the education is important for the black mind.
Yes.
Okay, and you have police that smoke ganja.
Okay.
I know you have police officers in Grenada that are smoke ganja, right? You have a lady again that had asthma.
Yeah.
She living in Canada now. And that was something the mother used to draw and give her for the asthma. And up to his death, she doesn't know it. So, ganja, weed, cannabis, as what we call it, have some good, and it might have some bad.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because I used to smoke it. And if somebody pass by me, no, they forgot ganja, that gets high. That's a nice feeling. I don't have to lie.
Yes.
I'm 63 years.
Yes.
If I get the scent, that's real nice, Irie.
Yeah, Irie.
Yeah. Some of the people are condemning it. We have to educate them.
Yes.
I have scientists that show it is good.
Yes.
And you have some people again, they will not accept it because ganja is something that make you get crazy. Cocaine making people get more mad. Right? And a lot of people in this country that is big lawyers, doctors, big people in business, they smoke their ganja. But now, I won't smoke no ganja from nobody because they mixed in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you have to be careful, you know, Miss Cammy. You ain't legalize or anything yet. The police hold you with it.
I tell you, all these
yes, I heard you, but I'm saying no. It's,
Black power.
Yes.
Black power time, I was a hot smoker.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell it.
Yes.
Yeah, bamboo and we put it, maybe we want smoke.
Yes.
But now, I'm not in that. You understand?
Yes.
So the education, we need the education, sir.
Thank you. That's true.
So when these people talking about, they want to use that to hold the youth. Young people in Grenada are no better. So Franco and them can't come with that. Franco and them can't come with it. They will legalize marijuana. Because I was on a program yesterday and I'm hearing what they're saying. They can't come with that because young people inside of their head now. A lot of the young people know better. You understand?
Yes.
They're doing their own research.
Yeah.
So they're going to use that to campaign. They have to think again.
Okay.
And next thing before I leave all you, I have to talk about it because I'm hurting. You have some people, Mr. Bola and Miss Duncan, and I know a lot of people listening, that is calling me Kit Michelle Dog right in front where doing medical business.
Yeah.
And I appealing to them that they refrain from coming where selling medical blood one thing. To calling me Kit Michelle Dog, I'm not a dog. And our children. And these people are calling me this name, they have wife, they have girlfriend, they have mother, they have brother.
Yeah.
I am 63 years of age with 5 children. And every time this man passed, he calling me Kit Michelle Dog. You understand? It's not nice.
No, it's not a nice
And when
thing.
you go jump on him,
No, don't.
No, don't jump on him. Don't jump on him.
No, don't do
I
that.
don't care what the police and the magistrate do because I'm tired.
You
It's
had
not
to
no.
care. You had to care. It's better you go and make a report to the officers.
Mr. Bola making a report, you're doing nothing. They are harassing me here. They come here and they calling out my name. That man called not my name. Call me, Kit Michelle Dog. What I do you? Why?
Forget about him. He gonna
Mr.
make
Bola,
up
that's
his
the
own.
horse in the midst of people.
No, I know how painful it could be for
It's
you.
not a nice thing, sir. I'm feeling.
Yes, and
You
it's hurting
understand
your
me?
feeling. It's hurting your feeling. But don't do anything bad because the
But
law.
what is the strike with man all the time?
Yes.
I might throw something on him. I will buy
Please.
something and throw on him.
Don't do
Because I'm
it.
tired.
I'm begging you not to do it. Do you know?
I'm tired, sir.
Yes.
It's
Please.
not about Peter David. It's about you Kit Michelle Dog and this and that. And I'm hungry. My mouth on the ground.
But you know you ain't hungry and you know your mouth ain't on the ground and you know you're not your dog.
I'm telling you the things that have come to tell you.
Yeah.
To trigger you to do things. And they must stop that.
Hold your head high.
Mr. Bola, he had one guy that he used to sit on the veranda with the thing and on. Today, and he's only more than the Prime Minister. Today, he's taking everybody for $20 in tongue. I don't call him in it.
Yeah.
He's calling everybody, they selling house. And he's begging everybody now for $1 in the tongue of St. George. I didn't arrest him, you know. And I live to see it. He's begging a man, what is that for $20? And I stand up behind his back.
Okay.
You understand?
Right.
So a lot of us are really remote and people have to be very careful
We have
what
to
you
be.
tell people.
They have to be.
That Grenada is a small Grenada and everybody know one another.
And they say what goes on. You have a good one
to
too.
all my friends in Canada and England, Mr. Watts and everybody, therefore everybody, all the Grenadians out there have a blessed day. Today what I have selling, I have green zabuka, I have golden apple, green golden apple, and I have rock fig.
Okay.
So anybody interested,
Pass down by Miss Cammy. Pass down by Miss Cammy. Yes. You have a good one. God bless you. Take good care. And, you know, it said what goes around comes around. We need to respect people and respect their space, you know.
And their views and opinions.
Views and opinions. And even if you and somebody are not friendly, you need not call them names and do things. So I'm just appealing to people out there about that.
And Ms. Cammy made some very good points because you also have the people, when you're starting this conversation, you have to consider who and how they are using it. Are the people going to smoke it? Are they going to draw it and make tea? Are they going to put it in food?
But
and consume it.
That's why we said, Ms. Duncan,
the conversation.
The conversation must go on. The medical people must be on.
Because in what doses, what amount can you
all of that.
consume?
And then, we are just making a lot of assumptions, right? We don't know for a fact that we'll ever get to that stage.
Yeah.
We don't know, even if we get to the stage, what dimension of it are we going to do?
Yeah.
As we've said, there are many different dimensions you can take. Would it be a case where Grenada now says, look, we can secure market, we know we have proper soil, we set the conditionalities, we give the permit to specific people who can go a certain amount that will be scrutinized, that we use for export, or we use for the medical industry, for them to do whatever. We don't know. We're just saying that, look, this is becoming very topical. We are seeing in certain jurisdictions, both sub-regionally and internationally, that there have been some easing up of restrictions on it. There have been some opening up. Markets are being created and it's been done differently. What can we do to bring economic viability and value to the country? Or what other? Would we lift it up for social purposes? We don't know.
Yeah.
We're just suggesting it.
Yeah. And I'm sure that the caller before, and of course, Ms. Cammy made mention of that. Grenadians are Grenadians. Well, you're a police, you're a doctor, And of course, you would know that you can't smoke weed high and go to work. In the same way, you can't drink rum and go on them people's job. It's all the same, because they are Grenadians too. And if the police decide that, well, for medicinal purposes, I need to use this, then he uses it within the constraints of the law, So whether the man is a police or not, or the woman is a policewoman or not, that should not be a ground under which they cannot consume, unless it's an athlete and based on international laws, you can't have these kind of substances in your bloodstream. Then that is different. And if, of course, by law, policemen and women are not supposed to have a certain amount or a certain level in their bloodstream either, unless these things are looked at. So, as we're saying here, it is a conversation where all of these criterions, all of these different scenarios, all of these things need to be placed on the table, looked at properly, and then we must identify what is the best route to take. Sometimes we have to be responsible as people and as politicians.
All the time we need to be responsible, not just sometimes.
I know about the all the time.
Because irresponsibility can bring consequences to us.
Well, you have to be more responsible when you're a politician and a public figure as well. The responsibility is more because people are looking at you. People are listening to you.
Yes,
so the things that you go...
I agree with that.
The things
but
that you go and
all of us need to be responsible.
Or have some level of responsibility.
At all times.
At all times. And you have to understand that people are looking at you. They're looking at you for leadership. They're looking at you for advice. They're looking to see if your views are in line with what they believe. So when you go out there and you just say things because you want them to think that you're in line with what they believe, or you want them to think that, okay, well, this is a topical issue, this is something that is coming up, let us be the first voice on it, without really sitting and analyzing what this could mean for a people, you're actually doing more harm than good. So it is something that we have to take into consideration and something that we have to look at. We have another caller on the line. Oh no, we seem to have lost that caller. Caller, if you're listening, you can try back. Remember, guys, the lines are open. The conversation this morning are your views on the criminalization.
And then you say the
depenalization, legalization of marijuana. How do we look at it? The permitization.
Is there one that way?
I don't think so.
I don't know. But meaning that you can permit people to go to
of marijuana. How do we approach it? How do we look at it? How do we start the conversation? What is the best way to start this conversation? Everybody has a different view, a different idea, a different opinion on how this should be done, if it should be done, if it's best for us, and on what level is best for us. We have a caller on the line. Good morning.
Good morning, my dear.
Hi, good morning, Miss Jacob. How are you?
Morning, Miss Jacob.
Fine, I'm fine. Zarabola, good morning.
Good morning, my dear. How was your weekend?
My weekend is gorgeous in the name of the Lord.
Okay, thank God for that.
Wonderful. I have a wonderful topic. Let me tell you about this. I know it was marijuana in my time, my grandmother time. You know what is the meaning by having fits? You know fits?
Yeah, we know what fits is, yes.
Right. But I had it, but I didn't used to follow. When my own really used to take me by the moon, when he take me by the moon, I can't go to school.
Yeah.
And I leave school in standard 4 because I couldn't take much schooling. A wonderful young man bring a piece of root. The root, he bring it from my grandmother. And she put it to dry, but she didn't know better. She gone, she put it in a pan. If she didn't put it in a brickable bottle, I know so I would have it still. But it don't trouble me.
Yeah.
You know when that marijuana root take water in Ivan time, Ivan come and wet it. Oh, he wet it because you see I had it in a pan. So I know I is 73 years of age and he never ever come back and eat it. It is very good. What my grandmother used to do, she used to, you know, long ago people used to boil things. She boil it, when she boil it, then she put it to cold, then she get the honey. She didn't used to use sugar, not to say we didn't have sugar. She sweetened it to the honey and she gave me to drink. Because that thing does attack me by the moon.
Okay.
By the moon it does come out. I don't know, I can't remember the moon now, but it does come by the moon. But she know when it coming by the moon, she
give you something to drink.
And she put it to dry. She give me to drink. The root is very good. That is marijuana. So
you had a good experience with drinking the root?
Yes, I have a good experience of it. I know I'm 73 years of age.
So he give you longevity? He make you live for long?
73 years of age.
Yes.
When I was going to school talking about it.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah. All right. Well, Ms. Jacob, we always love hearing from you. Thank you so much for contributing to the conversation.
Right. And Brother Bola, take good care of my sister.
Oh, God. I'm trying my best because you always ask me to do.
Touch her, please.
Yeah. Well, as long as she's in my sight, I allow nothing or no one to touch her. I'm taking good care of her.
Thank you. And brother and sister Duncan do the same thing with my brother for me.
All right. So you have a wonderful day, Miss Jacob.
God bless you.
And you too.
You all.
Take care.
All
we
right.
love you too.
Okay.
Nice.
Someone on the live video is asking this question. Good morning, folks. My question is, when or if this herb becomes legal, what will be the protection methods for the farmers who plant it in light of all those pretty larceny cases we see and hear about on a daily basis? We have a caller, and then we'll get back to that question on the live video. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Ms. Duncan. Good morning, Mr. Bola.
Good morning
I
to you.
that you guys had a wonderful weekend.
Well, I did, and I hope you did have a good one yourself.
Yes, I did.
Great.
Okay, I want to touch on two matters this morning. Because I was listening to another program this morning, and they talk a little bit about the agriculture. And, you know, I still trying to figure out why people are so focused on government not doing enough for agriculture. You know, are they telling the government exactly what they want them to do? And why they, you know? If the farmers treat agriculture as a business and not as something that government should be, yes, government, you know, need to give us the help out here and there, but I think that they are doing quite a lot, because imagine according to the size of your farm, the government are assisting you. They are paying workers for you to work that farm, and they are not asking you for anything from it. Just they pay these people to help you to work your farm. You know, so if we stop telling people, stop telling the farmers, and the farmers should know that themselves, this is your business. This is how you're making a living. This is, you know, what you're supporting yourself and your family with. And if you try to develop it, you know, work at it and develop it and make it become a viable entity like any other business. And, you know, we have to stop telling people the government is responsible for your farm not growing, and the government is responsible for there not to be any agro-industry. So the government has so much things to do already. Where are the public servants that have the money to invest in a agro-industry? Where is all the farmers' organization they have? Why don't they say, okay, let's come together and build an agro-industry? This should be part of their focus. And everybody is, you know, I'm getting sick of this now. It's like everything is, the government is not doing enough of that. This is your business. It's agriculture. You are a farmer. You have your lands. The government is still helping you. The government, they just get some machines to help you to work if you say, okay, this is too much work. But how could it be too much work? That is the business. There is no business that will become successful if you do not work hard at it, you know. Maybe agriculture is a different set of work, but construction is hard sun and hard work too, you know, and there are people that are working at it. So, you know, when the people are crying out that, you know, government is not doing enough and government is not putting enough money into the agriculture, so oh, come on. I mean, come on. How much they want the government to put into the agricultural sector? The agriculture is supposed to be a farmer's thing. Yes, the government has an agriculture ministry that they are going to support you, you know, but go out there, look for the market, the organizations, look for the market. Now is a good time. There are places now that, you know, would gladly, you know, buy your product. The hotel, you know, and this thing about our government also focus on the hotel and the tourism sector. Which country is not focused on hotels and tourism sector? Which country? As a matter of fact, there's a direct link between agriculture and tourism. All the farmers that used to sell to the hotels can tell you that no. Their farm, they're not making quarter as much. As a matter of fact, some of them don't even see the need to plant anymore because they have nowhere to sell their produce.
That's true.
Because the hotels are closed, SGU is closed. So people have to stop this thing about government. Yes, the government is going to focus on tourism because tourism, you need the people to come in and build a hotel. But you here, you have your piece of land. For God's sake, walk your land and make your farm successful and productive.
But it's not only for God's sake, it's also for your sake. For your own good, you do it, you walk your land because you would benefit.
Exactly. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is this marijuana business. And when I hear a responsible lady, well, I think...
But we hope that they're responsible.
I think she's a responsible person. Go on media and telling the people that one day marijuana is going to be legalized in this country without consulting with the people. I wonder which direction we are taking. We hear a lot about the government needs to consult, and the government needs to consult. They had placard up by Parliament not too long ago. The government did not consult on something to protect us from the virus. The government did not consult with them because the government was trying to save lives and to protect our lives. They should consult. But something that is going to be detrimental, and I'm going to say it's going to be detrimental to some people. Some people might be able to stomach it, but there's something in marijuana called THC that can mess up your brain. So, and then the crime, because if I am smoking and I can't plant, and you could plant, I am going to go and thief yours. Then the next thing is, excuse me, the crime, if you look at countries that have even using certain drugs as painkillers, we see how people abuse these things. Are we disciplined enough? And we see that we are not disciplined because there's a virus going around and people still want to party and people still want to do their own thing. And they're saying how the government and everything is about the government. Are we disciplined enough to control this marijuana thing? Just imagine your worker coming to work high and laughing for you whole day. Huh? I mean, did these people really think? Because I heard on a program this morning where one person was saying, that government would want to take credit, and want to try and push this now because the NDC has brought it to the table. Would government want to take credit for the destruction of its people? Now, I would see, if we talk about the byproduct, like the CBD oil, which, they use for painkiller, as a pain medicine. But to legalize marijuana for people to smoke, all people that are hiding below stone to smoke now, imagine you coming in your face and smoke. And parents that have children that are smoking could tell you the difficulties that they're having with these children and them. So we have to be responsible in what we say and with what we do. We have to think it through. If we're going to lead this nation, and we want to lead this nation, we have to be careful in what we say and what we do. Now, the next thing is, I want to know if this is a way that they are going to promote agriculture. This is what they're looking at to promote agriculture. This is something that I would like to know. I don't think that we're ready even for this discussion about marijuana yet. Let us talk about maybe the oil.
All right.
Which people could use to rub and to
to get an oil.
You would have to grow it somehow or import it or do something. But these are your thoughts and we accept them. We are happy to have them and your views, and hence the reason we say you're thinking that the time is not yet ready for the conversation. We believe that sooner than later we need to have it.
Yeah.
Whether it leads us to doing something in terms of, as we say, there are different dimensions: legalize, decriminalize, depenalize, whatever, permitize. We don't know what would happen, but the conversation and the will of the people and the determination of the people, I guess, would help in government determining. And I don't know, from what the caller said, government take credit because of food.
This is not an issue for credit.
It's just a lot of old talk that is just foolish.
All right, we want to take this call quickly. Good morning.
Good morning, Ms. Duncan.
Good morning.
How was your wonderful weekend?
Well, as you said, it was wonderful.
Okay. Well, once it was wonderful, that's good. Mr. Bola, good morning to you.
Good morning, sir. I find some people doing a lot of things about people. You didn't ask how was your weekend yet. You knew your weekend was wonderful.
Oh, my goodness.
I have to be more investigative in my journalistic skills.
well that's correct. Well, I am not a supporter of marijuana. If they want to do conversation about it, you can do it. It's not a problem. It's not a crime. But what I think, where the government should start, is that persons who are arrested for a spliff, you should release. You don't need these people in the prison. You're just wasting prison space, wasting taxpayers' money because you have to feed them. These people did not kill someone, so they have absolutely no, in my mind, no right to be there. Even though the thing is not even though the marijuana is not legal on our books, it's not legal, it's illegal. I don't think that the court, the government and the court, because the court works based on what the government dictates in law, should not cluster the prisons with this thing. It's not a violent offense, and I think they should just release the people that they would have arrested just for having a spliff. I personally believe that it didn't make any sense to me. It's just wasting the taxpayers' money. That's my opinion. I don't like this marijuana thing because I remember one time, a friend told me try the thing, and I reluctantly take one pull, and I start to laugh from now until when nobody said nothing, just me and he alone, and I start to laugh. And I said, you see, this thing is to send me mad. So everybody have their thing.
Yes.
But I honestly think I don't business about the conversation after, but the persons who have been arrested for marijuana possession, and I'm talking about cultivation. Maybe the police find them with a spliff or what. They should release them. Don't have them and have them have a record for having that. Then they can't find a job outside when they come out. A good job and stuff. They should just let such a thing pass. That is my contribution for the day as it relates to that. Okay? So have a good day.
Well, thank you. You have a good one too.
All right.
Again, your opinion, and that's how the consultation should be. There are those who for, there are those who are against, and like we said, we don't know what dimension would it take. Would it be legalization for smoking purposes, social purposes? Would it be grown for medical purposes? Would it be an economic crop? We don't know, So we're just shooting in the wind here. We're just saying, look, let's begin the conversation on this. There was a question I think you said someone asked, and I would presume from that, in terms of the protection, I don't see the government, if we get to that stage at all, say, well, no, we need to send out the SSU or the police to look after the farms. I don't know if they would specify certain areas. Like I say, those who may be growing, may be given certain permits to be able to do that. But I would see if it becomes an economic crop, if it's done like the farming processes, it falls under the Pre-Deal Larceny Act, like most of the things. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, because you don't want people, and like we said, perception and how people perceive things are very important, and you don't want people to think that, okay, well, it legalized, now we're going to start growing marijuana like watermelon and set up a back of a truck and we selling it, on the back of a truck for people to just pass and buy. I don't ever think it's going to happen in that way. We have to address it. And the caller before may be right. We probably aren't ready for the conversation on a social level yet. The consultation is what really should have started. So when you go to the people and you say to the people, listen, we are starting the conversation now with you as it relates to the legalization or the decriminalization of marijuana. And these questions that are coming up now start coming up. Then they have all of the answers. And they have the different scenarios that they've looked at from a medical level, from a religious level, from a social level. And they can now say to you, okay, these are the things that we have observed. This is the research that we have conducted. This is what we see happening. These are the ways that Grenada would now have to change in order to adjust to such a thing. And these are the measures that we need to now put in place to deal with these things. Rehabilitation centers and these things are all things that we must now consider if that conversation starts and when that conversation starts and if we're ready to have that conversation. Because right now, you've just opened Pandora's box on a conversation that some people feel very emotional about, and you haven't really given good consult on the different things. Now you've just made people believe that it's okay to just go ahead and legalize it, without any thought process involved.
It's not okay to just do it, as we say. And as I've said before, the powers that be are the ones that would have to structure the discussion, structure the consultation. They are the ones to lead the process. We are not the leaders of the process. Yeah, we're just throwing it out and to kind of test and get a feel from what people want to say, how they feel about the issue based on what transpired last week. But in no way can we be the leaders of this consultation and this issue.
Absolutely.
The powers that be are the ones that
would have to do it.
That under the
policymakers.
The policymakers.
Yeah.
Yes.
We have another caller on the line. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
I have an idea.
Mm-hmm.
The young people today don't want to go in garden. If you all want to see marijuana, to legalize marijuana, the young people, you get 10 acres of land, you give them 5 to plant marijuana, 5 to cultivate with food. And you'll get everybody to work agriculture in this country to go and plant marijuana.
I like that idea.
When you do that, then you process it to get it legalized, because you have enough to do what you have to do. And the youth will work instead of, as soon as they get a job, they run in and buy a car, they will look to buy land to plant marijuana. So then the country will cultivate.
That's a very interesting perspective.
You have an option with it there.
Yeah.
They will work. They'll work.
All right. Thank you so much for your contribution, caller.
Good.
That's an interesting perspective. If that is what would motivate them, then maybe it's something to look at.
I don't know if it would motivate them at all. Because we have to be mindful that some of the young people who may say they're for are not necessarily people who want to plant. Maybe they want to see it decriminalized or legalized for them to be able to use it more freely.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Or even to sell.
Even that. We just don't know.
We have a call on the line. Good morning.
Hi, pleasant good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah.
Well, I didn't hear everything because I was in and out, up and down.
Yes.
So, but my take on it is everything that God put on this earth has good in it.
Yes.
And I think what needs to happen is proper research being done. Now, we might be able to take, without reinventing the wheel, take research that was done previously. But to just say, legalize the thing, or to go in the opposite direction, and to say, well, the thing is good, and they're doing this, and they're doing that, we have to look at the good and bad in it. Do the proper research, and there must be some level of control too. Because if I'm not mistaken, there was this painkiller that used to be used in hospitals, morphine, I think it was, and it could be very dangerous.
Yes.
Knife in the hand of a murderer is not a tool, but we know a knife is a good tool.
Yes.
And so a tablet, a painkiller is good, but one can overdose on a painkiller too. So I think wisdom has to be used in the entire procedure as to how this thing goes around. I remember the Prime Minister saying the truth, not under his watch.
At one time he did.
Yes.
And I did not agree with him then, because my thing is everything on God's earth has good uses, and it's up to us to use the good things out of it.
Yes.
But doing the proper research and, having the controls in effect.
Absolutely.
So have a good day.
Thank you. That was a sober thought, and it just brought to mind something that we've heard from our footprints many, many times. That too much of one thing is good for another thing.
And the caller brought up a good point, because morphine is something that works well, very good painkiller, I think one of the best, but it has to be prescribed.
Yes.
And it also has different effects, because for me, if I take morphine, I get arrhythmias, my heart races and all of that. For some people, that may not happen. A comment here on the live video is saying that for medicinal purposes, it has to be grown under special conditions.
Okay.
That is also something you have to look at. We have a caller on the line. Good morning, caller.
Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Yeah, mine. I want to tell you something. I'm a very old man.
Okay.
And I want to let you know, when Maurice Bishop wanted to get popular, he smoked marijuana with everybody. And he encouraged the people to disrespect the government of the day. When they got into power, you know what they did? Who they ain't killed, they lock up. So that is enough for me, to you.
All right. Thank you.
Let Mr. Bola verify that.
Thank you, caller. Thank you for your comment. We appreciate. And, the caller wants me to unfold and putting me in a difficult spot. I don't know that these same people want to do the same thing like they did during the days of the rebel. They were really, really bad. I mean, for the weed and thing, the soldiers and all kind of things.
But I think it's the concept.
Yeah, the truth about it is that, we need to see, one caller said before, there's good in everything. There's also some bad in most things. It is the control and the use of it. Now, I am not saying, and we are not saying on this program here today, yes, go ahead, legalize, give it up, let people smoke it. We're saying let's start in some way, and I think the government is preparing itself. It's a process. Yeah. It's something that takes time. The opposition may want you to believe or make you believe for political expediency that, vote me in and tomorrow everything would be, smooth. We just go and pass that law in Parliament. No, it doesn't happen that way.
Yeah.
There must be the conversation. There would be the naysayers and the naysayers. There would be those for, there would be those against. You would have to weigh all the do's and don'ts, the advantages and disadvantages, and we'll have to come up with the best mix for us as a people and a country. Yeah. We'll have to weigh what will be most beneficial to us. Don't have it at all and have people continue to hide and do it illegally and bring it in an illegal way? Or should we open up the market to a certain extent and permit people to grow for whatever purpose, as we say? Do they grow for social purposes, for medicinal purposes, for export purposes? There must be control, and that comes from dialogue and consultation.
Absolutely.
And the powers that be and the minds that are best suited for that. Sit down and say, look, from all of what we have done and we have heard and we have seen, this we believe is the best way to go.
Yep.
From the examples of this country as compared to that country and this other one, this is what they did, this is how they went about, this was the follows that they had, this was what worked for them, this what can work for us
is what can work for us in Grenada.
What is best for us? How do we continue to protect our population, our seniors as well as our juniors? All of those is what we're saying we need to have the conversation about.
We have another call on the line. Good morning.
Good morning, Duncan.
Good morning.
Yeah, I was listening. Sometimes I see the CRFM media for a while. Come. But you're concerned, I mentioned that before on program concerning the weed ganja, whatever you call it.
Yes.
I always say, I don't see this. We shouldn't really just sit trying to fight, to try to see if you will decriminalize really. These things are nature plants, just like any other plant. This is no passion lab.
Yes.
I'm a farmer for 38 years now. I'm a farmer. I never plant a weed tree. I never even spoke nothing in life. I never even drink a beer.
Yes.
And who know me could attest to that too. And I don't see why they should fight not behind that thing. That is a nature part of it. You controlling, yes, you're supposed to control it because you say you have some chemicals in it.
Yeah.
But if you watch all the raw malt things pass through lab, cooking, chemically mixed. All them other drugs are chemically mixed. But that's a nature plant of any other plants. So I don't find this plant because in India or places like that, that didn't go on the side of the road.
Yeah.
Because I've been to the health center in Guaman here. I get a security guy there. I tend to recognize him because I realize he multitasking. I realize he coming, take it in, he coming down and watch it. He calling himself to go inside, man. I feel for the guy, man. I say, this guy is a true religion, man.
Yeah.
Some people will think about only they walk and they come and now they walk is just to secure, but the man going in and he making sure he ensure that who else are going first and who going back and calling them, come them and call them out by name. And I just said to recognize him today.
Recognize him, right. Well, big up to him.
You take care, man.
Yeah, thanks to you too. And it's always good to call out our people who does a good job. We are people who always highlight when things don't go too right. But as the caller say, he want to recognize that guy by the health center, that security officer. You know, we say big up to you, brothers, all of those who are doing good. And there are so many other people who do good things on a daily basis, who go beyond the call of duty, who do more than what they are expected to do. And we say, you know, hats off to all of you in whatever field you are in, whether you are in the medical field, you are in security, you are a police officer, you are a farmer, you are a teacher, you are just an ordinary public servant, you are a market vendor, you work in a supermarket, you are a bus driver. There are some people who will go beyond the call of duty from time to time and make your life and your day and the time you are around them a lot more comfortable and enjoyable. We say hats off to all of you. This is what the world needs. The world needs people at all times to make each other happy, because even in the Holy Bible it says, whatsoever you do to the least of my brothers, that you do unto me. And this is Christ talking to us. So let's continue to do good. Let's continue, to recognize each other as being human beings, irrespective of the differences that we may believe that exist among us. Of course. Difference in religion, difference in political parties that we support, different in skin tone and color, different in hairstyle, length or color, or whatever it may be. But we are all human at the end of the day, made by the same man, made by the same hand, in his own image and likeness. And so we need to show respect for one another. We need not to always agree with each other, because there are things that Ms. Duncan may do that I'm not in total agreement with. But we need to compromise at times to be able to get along one with another, because this world doesn't belong to one man, It doesn't belong to me only. It doesn't belong to you only. All of us have our part to play. When the Master created it, it created for all its inhabitants. And so, as we wind down to the end, and we have had this conversation today, there are some people who gave their views, whether they're for or they're against. There are those who send their comments. We couldn't read all of them. But on the note from the caller, we need to continue to recognize the people who are doing good. And those who are not doing as good as they should be doing, or as they are expected to do, sometimes we need to call them aside and have a word with them and let them know, look, what is expected of you is much more than what you're doing. I have seen, I have heard, and I recognize, and I don't believe that you're going down the correct track. Sometimes what we just need is a friend or someone good enough to say to us, hey, I think you're slacking a little bit too much. I think you're falling off route. You need to get back on route. But whatever it is you're doing today, give it your best shot. Whatever it is you have planned for the day, I hope you will achieve. Whatever it is you set out to do from the time you left home this morning, I hope you will enjoy doing it. And let's continue to be good to each other. Let's continue to be friendly to each other. And if not at least being friendly, let's be responsible and respectable to each other, because this is what is expected of us. This is what the younger ones are looking up to us to see, to be the role models and the examples of doing good all the time, being good. As someone oftentimes say to me, if we can't do good for humanity, then let us not do anything at all. Then give us the opposite, say if we can't do good, do bad. They said if we can't do good, then let us not do anything at all. I would want to say to all of us, thank you again for participating. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for those of you who sent something on WhatsApp or on the live. We appreciate it. We know we had some little technical difficulties this morning, but all in all, I think we happened to get by. As you know, we closed the program just about now. That segment of the program, just about now, so that we can accommodate the national report and other things like that. Thank you again, everyone. Have a blessed Monday afternoon. Continue to do what you're doing. Keep your energy level up. It's warm these days, so drink a lot of water. Be hydrated, as they say, all the time. Remember to follow the protocols, because while we may not have any medically tested cases in Grenada, we still have to be careful, because we want our people and our country to continue to go forward. Absolutely. I am off. Thank you very much.
All right, Mr. Bola. Very well said, guys. It is always a pleasure being here with you. And I want to appeal to us as a people, whenever these things happen, we always need to analyze why it is happening, why now, and what is the motive behind certain things happening. Yes, we agree that the conversation for the decriminalization of marijuana must happen because there are a lot of social advantages, a lot of economic advantages for us as Grenadians, but then there are also some ills associated with it. We must find the best fit for us here in Grenada, and it doesn't start by us just jumping on social media or on whatever media platform we can find and just making broad statements. It starts with having the right consultation with the right people so that when you bring it to the public, you can have facts and you can have scenarios and you can have suggestions, and it's not just a broad statement that anybody can take and just run with it. So guys, it's always a pleasure being here with you, as we say here every day, in whatever you say and whatever you do. Be safe, be secure. We always want to be talking with you. We don't ever want to be talking about you. Please do enjoy the rest of your day and stay tuned for the national report. Have a wonderful day, guys.
Emergency work on Laborie Road nearing completion. We'll have the details to this and other stories in the National Report. With the details to the news for Friday, September 18th, 2020, I'm Delroy Lozan. Work on a section of the Laborie Main Road that feeds into Hopevale is now 95% complete. Minister for Infrastructure Development Honorable Gregory Bowen, who visited the construction site on Thursday, is pleased with the progress and quality of work. It entails the construction of a retaining wall and box culvert, which forms part of the $48.6 million feeder road project that was awarded to Hanover Construction Company Limited.
I'm very pleased, but first of all, I want to commend the users, the people in the area. I spoke with the contractors, I spoke with them as well. There wasn't any complaint whatsoever because everyone knew what the condition of this particular area was. The brick, and now they'll see that the road is being repaired. I think they went a couple of weeks over. As is expected, there were days that they could not work. But as we see, the work is being done and completed in a very good manner. The walls at the side, that's been completed. And now we're looking to just finish here, put it back in a state that it can be motorable. But we will come back because we have to, do a lot of more work in this area. So I think I'm pretty pleased with the progress so far, albeit we are a week out, but we understand why, the weather.
Reginald Simon, Quality Control Officer at Hanover Construction, told the GIS that despite some interruptions, he is pleased with the overall quality of work.
Presently, I'm very happy to announce that we took 20 working days to complete this task. We had 4 rainy days, which affected the project slightly, but we are still in good schedule to complete on Saturday of this week. Basically, what we did is a retaining wall of a height of 10 feet in height with a cascade system at the back to take all the water, which is coming through a cylinder, which is 4 feet wide and 20 feet long. So the water is coming down from the hillside, go to the cylinder, and then goes down into the cascade within the retaining wall. So presently today, we are resurfacing the area and trying to complete in order to do the preparation for asphalt mix on Friday. Long as weather permits. Yes, we will be doing some relocation of some staircases going towards the house and also steps going towards the house. We will be rectifying that also within the next couple of days.
The new sanitary block at the St. Dominic's Roman Catholic School, constructed at a cost of $196,800, 800 EC dollars, was officially handed over during a ceremony at the institution on Thursday. It was attended by Education Minister Honorable Emlyn Pear, Parliamentary Representative Oliver Joseph, Head of Rural Development Byron Campbell, Principal, staff, and members of the Basic Needs Trust Fund, the BNTF. Mr. Campbell says to date, government working with the BNTF program has completed 37 development projects and is currently in its 9th program, 2017 to 2020.
The refurbishment of the St. Dominic RC School sanitary block is one out of 11 projects that have been approved by the Cabinet of Grenada for implementation in this cycle. The total funding for the BNTF 9 program is about $10.3 million. The CDB's contribution is 8.6, and the balance, about 1.7 million, is financed by the Government of Grenada. Let me say that what is notable here in this BNTF program, that Grenada qualified for incentive funds, meaning if you do very well, there's an incentive. And I want to compliment the BNTF staff, the Government of Grenada, to have received this incentive funds of 1.7 million as a result of its exceptional performance. This is very, very important.
The ribbon was cut by Parliamentary Representative Honorable Oliver Joseph, who is no doubt happy that the project has been completed in time for the new school term.
As Parliamentary Representative, the situation was brought to my attention, and I came to look at it and had one of our construction men do some little work on it. But the real cost was almost $200,000. So then I had to turn to BNTF, because BNTF is the body that ensures that project like that takes place. It fits exactly with government development plan, reducing poverty and ensuring proper facilities. And I was saying to myself, I hope this facility will open for the new school term. And so I asked someone in BNTF, would we have it for the new school term? And they gave me the assurance that yes, it will be done. So I want you to put your hand together for BNTF.
Education Minister Honorable Emlyn Pear says upgrading school facilities is in keeping with government's agenda to ensure the environment is conducive, especially in this COVID-19 period. The challenge of school repairs, Minister Pear says, is one that becomes overwhelming for government at times.
For 2020 into the early part of 2021, our government is investing over $52 million in the upgrade and rebuilding of schools. A lot of monies into just upgrade and construction of schools. But that does not include additional resources when a pipe just got busted or something just got broken. You have to have additional resources. And so it is extremely important for us today to recognize the staff and the leadership of BNTF, because the work that has been taking place there through Ministry of Finance has contributed significantly to increased resources that we can undertake as a country projects like these. And I do believe they deserve another round of applause for their hard work.
To ensure safety and protection during this period, government is spending $22 million plus an additional $2.9 million for sanitization and supplies for schools for the Michaelmas term. This is the National Report. The news will continue in just a moment.
Protect yourself and our community from COVID-19. Wash your hands frequently with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. If soap and water are not available, use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer with at least 70% alcohol. Use a tissue when blowing your nose, sneezing, or coughing. Immediately discard the tissue properly and wash or sanitize your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Let's do our part to ensure that each and every Grenadian remains healthy. To stay up to date, visit the Government of Grenada's webpage or the Ministry of Health's Facebook page. For more information, contact the Ministry of Health's hotline by calling 53-VIRUS. This has been a public service announcement brought to you by the Ministry of Health.
Welcome back. Farmers and fisherfolk have elected Roderick St. Clair to be their new representative in the upper house. On Wednesday, an election was held to find a replacement for Senator Dr. Dunstan Campbell, who recently resigned, citing medical reasons. The Office of the Prime Minister collaborated with the Ministry of Agriculture and Lands to facilitate the election to fill the position. Karima Lewis tells us more in this report.
Following the election, Roderick St. Clair, current General Manager of the Grenada Cooperative Nutmeg Association, received the nod of the farmers to succeed Dr. Dunstan Campbell as the new Farmers and Fisheries representative in the upper house. The election, which was held at the Trade Center Annex on Wednesday, saw a total of 8 farmers and fisheries organizations casting their votes for the 2 nominees, Roderick St. Clair and Jason Phillip, president of the Grenada Association of Poultry Producers. St. Clair amassed 10 votes, which put him 3 points ahead of his opponent to be named as the elected new representative. Along with the setting up of an office to have the representative interface with farmers and fisherfolks, St. Clair is hoping to encourage the consumption of more local produce.
We need to address those things. We need to address from a national level, how does the farmer and his products become more consumable locally? And so after adopting the whole program and eat local and buy local, we need to push that so that our local farmers can get our products sold inside of here and utilized. Look at what has happened. Right now, boat into Trinidad is off. How does the farmer survive in this time? He have to be prepared. So we need to be able to drive the local consumption.
Also on the agenda for the representative is the issue of food safety. How do farmers ensure that their produce is free of harmful chemicals?
It's very important. A lot of persons getting sick from eating food with all different chemicals, all different stuff. How do we as farmers become more responsible in the practices that we are involved in so that we can be able to access also international markets? How do we get to involve in all of these big hotels we hear coming into the country?
A representative from each organization present at the meeting was requested to submit names of nominees. Each organization were allowed a maximum of 2 nominees, which were seconded. The nominees were then asked to indicate whether they are interested in serving. This was followed by a total of 17 votes being casted by private ballots in the presence of the lead elections officer, Fitzroy James. The name of the new elected representative will now have to be sent to the Prime Minister for consideration in accordance with Section 24(2)(c) of the Grenada Constitution. For the Ministry of Agriculture, I am Karima Lewis.
Thank you, Karima. Finally in the news, Carriacou's Tyrrell Bay Marina boasts of high occupancy, notwithstanding the challenges posed by COVID-19. Owner of the marina, Jerome McQuilkin, told GIS so far there is an increase in yacht arrivals. More than 1,000 yachts have received hauling along with other services at the marina, 170 of which are presently stored on the marina's dry dock. McQuilkin said construction is ongoing at the marina, and as a result, space is limited. He explained that due to the high number of occupancy and over 70 reservations, managing the limited space is priority for the marina.
We are over in excess of 50% more than we had last year, and we still have a lot of bookings to come in. We're doing serious space management right now to really utilize all the space that we have available to us. We have a lot more to come in, but as we get deeper into the season, boats start to launch. We have a lot of boats from up north. So as we launch those, we have space for others to come in. So we rotate the space, we manage the space that we have available. We have bookings for probably 70 or 80 boats still, but if they all arrive tomorrow, we couldn't take them all.
He says COVID-19 has affected the number of yachts that visited the island, especially around this time of year. However, he is grateful for the opportunity to provide employment to workers and a safe haven for yachts.
Our percentage occupancy has been growing every year. So we're not surprised to see the numbers at the levels they are now. However, we have benefited from other yards, primarily in Trinidad, that are still almost closed. So the boats that would have gone to Trinidad in Grenada, very few of them have gone to Trinidad. So a lot of those boats are in Carriacou and Grenada. Is that down to COVID? Is it because of COVID? I think you have to say yes. But we're enjoying the bonus, if you like. COVID has hurt a lot of people, so a lot of businesses. So it's good that this is kind of this is a positive factor of COVID rather than a negative one.
McQuilkin commended the Ministry of Health and the government for the measures and protocols implemented to protect citizens. The protocols, he says, are extremely useful in the smooth operation of his facility. To end the news, here is a reminder of some of the top stories we have covered this week. Prime Minister Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell says cabinet changes designed to facilitate personal growth and development. Government to re-evaluate 2020 COVID-19 protocols. Regulations for controlling spread of COVID-19 now under Public Health Act. Attorney General Darshan Ramdani says new regulations are meant to create safe mechanism in the face of the new normal. And you just heard emergency work on Laborie Road nearing completion. That's all from us here at the newsroom. On behalf of all who made this newscast possible, I'm Delroy Luzon. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.